So you're gonna show where you stretch all those people? So you're gonna show us the dungeon?
I might try to show a move or two.
Yeah. I'll take some moves, sir.
Do you feel that?
Oh, yes, sir. I don't feel my arms, sir. I can feel it.
Can you feel that, sir?
Oh, yes, sir.
Red,
oh, yeah.
rosy.
Yes, sir.
And by taking this arm back here,
no.
you just ease his hand in the position here. I got the power here to...
Stop it, sir. Stop.
You're listening to Hart Beat Radio.
Bob Johnson coming to you live from the Hart Beat Radio studios for our special show. And I'll be bringing on our special guests, two real old veterans of the business, and Mr. Nick Kozak and Reggie Parks. But before that, I'd like to introduce our regular co-host, Mr. Matt Merz from Portland Wrestling. Welcome back, Matt.
Well, Bob, it is always a pleasure to be here on Hart Beat Radio and to have an opportunity to learn from my elders as wrestling history slowly disappears. Bruce Hart and Bob Johnson are doing everything they can to preserve it, and I appreciate it more than anything. I'll never be able to express my gratitude to you gentlemen, so thank you very much for having me once again.
Without any further ado, the one and only Bruce Hart, and welcome, Bruce, to Hart Beat Radio.
Oh, thanks, Bob. I appreciate the nice introduction. It's nice to be up here celebrating Canada's 150th birthday with two legendary Canadian iconic wrestlers from back in the day, Nick Kozak and Reggie Parks. They were both headliners and major players back in the 50s and 60s, the glory days, the golden age of wrestling, you know. So.
For all the younger fans out there not familiar with the Kozaks, Nick and Jerry Kozak, their father came from the Ukraine to Canada. Nick was born in 1932, and Jerry came along a couple years later. And when you talk about men who held titles, my goodness, just to name for some of you younger fans who Nick Kozak teamed with, he held tag team gold with Herb Freeman, Al Casey, Nick Bockwinkel with his brother Jerry, of course, Dickie Steinborn, Ricky Romero, Lord Alfred Hayes, Moose Morosky, Dory Dixon, Ken Lucas, and that is just some of the titles he held, from the Gulf Coast to the Western States to Florida to Georgia to Hawaii to the Pacific Northwest, all the way to Korea. Nick Kozak saw the entire world throughout the 50s, 60s, and 70s as a professional wrestler, and I'm quite excited to learn more about his life and times in the wrestling business. So, without further ado, welcome to Hart Beat Radio, Mr. Kozak.
Oh, thank you much. Thank you very much. I was kind of being an old Canadian still. See, I've been in Texas since 1959. When I was growing up, my parents, Dad and everything else, was making violins and everything else. And he wanted me to be a violinist, and, of course, I studied for quite a while. But back in the old day, you know, the old razor strap was there. And if you made a mistake or didn't want to do it, you felt it. You couldn't do that nowadays. But back then, that was the way it was. But anyway, of all things, my violin teacher, who was name was Eugene Hudson at the time, he was a concert violinist at the Vancouver Symphony apparatus situation, and he introduced me to the Western Sports Center in Vancouver, downtown. And he said, Nick, you're kind of skinny and stuff. And I said, yeah, well, that's just the way it is. Dad don't want me to do any kind of exercise or whatever, because he thought it hurt my fingers, it hurt my hand, and I couldn't play the violin. But anyways, my violin teacher introduced me to the Western Sports Center, and I walked in there, and man, a whole new world opened up to me. At that time, it was boxing. Then he had a judo mat and wrestling mat, and there was, the weight room was downstairs. I used to hear all kinds of loud clanging and sounds, and I thought, oh, that's no man's land. I don't know about where that is. But anyway, the story goes, I started training to be a boxer. And the gentleman I was going to work out with was Stokes Mullins. There was the Canadian Golden Glove Championships coming up, and I think he was in the 150, 160-pound class, something like that. and I was working out with him. I had the headgear and I had the body thing on so he could lay some punches in on me so he can get his good workout. Well, I started with him, and I got feeling pretty good, and I thought, oh, hey, this ain't bad. So I started getting a little, hitting him harder and everything else. Next thing you knew, I was sitting on the mat. And I thought, what the hell happened? And so Tommy Gann was the instructor. He came rushing over, so was Stokes. And he said, you okay, Nick? You okay? I said, yeah, what happened? He said, well, you walked into a left hook. I said, oh, is that what it was? No, I'm sitting there with the gear on and my gloves on and everything else. And I hear this door, it's about a two-way door, like from downstairs. And the guy comes out of there. His name was Mario Greger. And he's about 5'6", 5'7", and he's walking. The dressing room was in the back, past the ring and the wrestling mat. And I never seen so much muscle on my guy. I looked at him, and Tommy and them were standing there, and I started taking my gloves off. And Tommy said, what the hell are you doing? I said, Tommy, who is that? What does he do? And now, believe it or not, back then, if you were training with weights and stuff like that, you were narcissistic. You were pretty boy kind of guy and everything else. And I said, oh, is that right? I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm still taking the gloves off. And Tommy said, what are you doing? I said, Tommy, I want to look like that. Now, that was my introduction and everything else. So I went downstairs now. I said, well, I'm going to look downstairs and see what this weight clanging and banging is and who's doing what. So I walked down there and everything else. A lot of the equipment was homemade. It was still, you could have a hell of a workout there. And I'm watching this guy in the corner, and he's got a little over 305 pounds on the squat rack, homemade squat rack. And I'm looking at this guy, and I said, what that looked like it was 2-3 tons. I've never seen that kind of weight. What's he going to do? So he was getting ready to do a chair squat with all his weight. So I see this chair 2 or 3 feet back of him, and no back, but just the seat and pedals. And he gets under this weight and hefts it a couple of times, and he gets it off the rack, and he starts slowly backing up to the chair. Well, I thought the chair, it's going to be in his way. And so I grabbed and I pulled the chair back away. But he didn't see me. He was so concentrating on this squat. And he started going down, he started going down, and the chair wasn't there, and he stopped and kind of grunted and forced his way back up and put it on the rack. Turned around and looked at me, and I'm still holding the chair. I'm going to do him a favor. I thought he was going to eat me. I mean, he said, you blankety-blank, get the hell out of here. So in other words, I ran back upstairs, and that was my first introduction to that. And then I started working at the weights and everything else, and the wrestling promoter at the time at the old Exhibition Gardens in Vancouver, I think we had Wednesday night shows there for wrestling. And I was watching these guys work out on the mat wrestling, and I thought, gee, that really intrigued me. I thought, hey, that looks pretty neat. So I got on there to work out and everything else. And, of course, I learned in a hurry. I'll never forget one guy named Bud Rattel. I worked out with him a lot and everything else, and he was a big, hairy, sweaty guy. And he used to lay on me and just move me this way, move me that way. When I got through working out with him, my elbows had mat burns, my face had mat burns, and I thought, no, this shouldn't happen like this. But anyway, I stuck with it, with the weights and with the wrestling, and it just felt nice. It just felt nasty to me. So anyways, I used to start working out with Cliff. Cliff Parker, he was a retired professional. He was a promoter at that time, but he liked to work out on the mat. So I got to working out with Cliff because I thought, well, he may be somebody that could get me interested in professional. So I used to work out with him. And the same thing. It started out where I was, mat burn here and mat burn there and everything else. But I stuck with it. And within 2 or 3 months, Cliff couldn't beat me as easy as he used to. And pretty soon I got more and more and more body strength through the weight training and wrestling with him, and of course other guys too. So I was wrestling with him, and I could never beat him, but he couldn't beat me no more. So, because at that time he was around 225, and I was like 165, 170. anyway, I entered Vancouver, British Columbia Junior Amateur Wrestling Champs at 174, and I got the crown on that and everything. I thought that was. I still got my little old cup with a deal on it and everything else. And there was Mr. BC physique contest, and one year I even took that. And back then they had where you had the best chest, best arms, best legs, and I took best legs at the time. So, anyways, then I still kept bugging Cliff, and he'd say, Nick, you're still a little small and everything else. And see, back then, the heavyweight was maybe 200, anyway, from 195 to 210 maybe. And so I was, bulking up and working out and everything else. And he asked me one time, he says, Nick, he says, are you still interested? I said, yeah, Cliff. He said, well, I need somebody to sit at the ringside, and when the guys come in, take their jackets or take their towels back to their dressing room. He said, would you like that? I said, yeah, man, are you kidding? A heartbeat. I thought, this is it. This is it. So I would get in there, everything else, and some of the guys had a towel, and I'd take that back and then sit at ringside, on the chair and everything else. And I thought that was fantastic. And anyways, one day he come to me, he said, Nick, I need a guy in the opener. Lionel Henkin was the guy's name, and I used to work out with Lionel. I'm an amateur. I had no idea he was a professional guy. So he said, we need somebody. It's a 1-fall 15 opener. You know what I mean? That'd be great. So naturally we went out there, and now when I'm talking to you, is this kayfabe on the smart or what?
Oh, no. You don't have to kayfabe the smart.
Okay. So anyways, I went in with Lionel. I couldn't believe we were in the dressing room. He looked at me and he started laughing. I told Lionel, well, screw you, Lionel. You better get your best hold. Well, we worked the 1-fall and went through. So and I said, well, that's pretty good. Now I was not I wasn't smart. Let's put it that way. Till one day that there was I don't know if anybody. Do you ever remember, or maybe somebody a Hart fan that can remember Bob? Right? They call you versus Strangler Bob Wagner, Ken Kenneth, Buddy Knox, Kurt von Pappenheim. Oh,
I know Buddy Knox and Kurt von Pappenheim.
And Al Saz, the Ukrainian Flash. And anyways, so he asked me, to be sitting the ringside again. I said, okay. So I didn't know they were working up a deal between Bob Wagner and Ken Kenneth. And they had the main event and everything else, and it turned out to be done, everybody's in the ring. So I'm in the ring and everything else. I said, what the hell's going on? Here come these guys are running in from different sizes. I said, oh, my God, there's trouble. So Bob Wagner is against the rope, and Cliff Parker is holding one arm against the rope. And Cliff says, Nick, get up here. I said, oh, my God. So I jump in the ring, and I grab a hold of Bob. I grabbed, with my two hands, I grabbed it. I think it was the right arm, and I grabbed, if you can do it, I grabbed and hung on. I mean, I really would. And Bob just slowly turns his face and looked at me like, what the hell are you doing? And then Cliff says, Nick, take it easy. Just relax. That's when it hit me. And then that was it. I went from there and did some shows for Nick, went up to Williams Lake a couple of times. They had some kind of rodeo and stuff up there. And me, I think Reggie Parks was up there one time. Prince George area, Williams Lake. I think Felix Conkey and the Logger Larson or something were working up there. He was promoting. So I made a couple of shows like that. And then came back to Vancouver. And Cliff asked me, he says, Nick, you really want to do that? I said, yes, I do. He says, well, Don Owen's promoting Oregon. And Tex Hager was promoting Washington. He says, I've talked to both guys about you, and you're wrestling, you look good, and all that good stuff. So there was the Mr. Pacific Coast and Pacific Northwest Physique Contest in Portland at Multnomah University, I think it is, or Multnomah, something like that. So me and there was about 15 or 20 of us guys, we drove down. And of course, the guys there's also Doug Hepburn. I don't know if you heard of Doug. He was doing the Strongman show, and he was going to be there. And we all knew what the hell Doug can do, power for strength-wise. He was amazing. Mm-hmm. So checked into Portland and everything else, and those guys are going to hit for the clubs and all that good. And I says, no, the Armory on a Friday night was Don Owens Promotion for Wrestling. So I found out where the Armory was, and they said, come on, Nick. I said, no, I'm going to go see Mr. Owen. So at that time, I think it was the main event was, oh my goodness, Eric Pedersen and Luther Lindsay. And they had a hell of a sellout. When they were loaded up, Don was standing on a table telling people, no, we don't have any more seats. It's standing room only. If you don't want to stand, we'll give you a ticket, money back. But you can't believe that. But that Don was everything else. So anyways, I came in the dressing room and met Don, introduced him, and he says, oh, yeah, okay, Cliff talks about you, and anything else. And so I told him a bit of my history. And he says, well, I tell you what, I got a full stable of boys now, but Tex Hager needs a couple of guys. I'm going to send you up to Tex. He'll know you're coming, and spend some time there and get some good experience, more experience. I said, well, that's fine. So anyways, I stuck with that, and back in Washington and Oregon. And then Don comes to me. He said, look, Moore Siegel needs a new face for his Texas operation. He said, Pepper Goldman was a hot commodity, hot baby that there at the time, but he's going to Frisco. And I said, well, that'd be Texas? Fantastic. Jerry and I could do that. We can go. He said, well, okay, I'll get your stuff, get all your, back then we had our stories and our 8x10s and all that good stuff, mail that stuff in, get some good pictures and all that good stuff. So June of 1959, we came into Fort Worth. That was it. And I don't know, I can't think of his name. God almighty, I remember he used to work, he had a Second World War pilot hat on or helmet on, full suit, crazy colors. Anyway, I can't think of his name, but he was my first opponent in Fort Worth on a Monday night, and he got disqualified and everything else, and that was it. So from then on, I figured, well, this Texas, that's it, and I've been here ever since. So,
well, I'd love to throw out some of those old names from Portland that you worked with and get some thoughts and memories on some of those men, like Herb Freeman.
Yeah, Herbie. Oh, there was, of course, Maurice Vachon. There was Wild Bill Savage. And, and, oh, my goodness, Luther Lindsay, and Shag Thomas, Tony Bourne. Oh, my goodness.
You got a great memory, Nick. My goodness.
Well, I'm surprised they're all popping up now, because, oh, my goodness.
Now, did Pappy own the bar back then?
Pappy.
Old Kurt von Hoffenheim.
No, I don't think so. But I know that if it was, let's see, Monday night was Labor Temple. That's downtown Portland and everything else. Yeah, I remember that. Anyways, since we're in town, and I think it was the little club. It was because the drinking bar was closed at midnight. But I'm trying to think. Happy Hour Tavern? No. We all used to go there. Red. The guy's name was Red, who owned it, and I can't think of the name of the thing. But anyway, Peppy would he'd get there and drink. He'd get a little drunk, and I'll never forget this. He'd get to the phone. He said, Red, let me use your phone. I can make a call. So he'd get in touch with his wife. He'd say, Mom, he says, honey, he says, get the kids off the street and everything else. He says, the old man's coming home with a load on. I could see him. Oh, my goodness. Son of a gun, I got goosebumps just thinking about the time. I just flipped out old Patrick. That was my first time. I had to be, it was Bill Savage, Kurt von Pappenheim against, I think, Alsace, and I can't think of the other big thing. It was a tag match, and back then we had the rope, and so I was going to be the outside referee to make sure that they stood there, both feet on the edge of the apron of the ring, and hang on the rope before they made the tag. So anyways, he said wear white pants and a white T-shirt. I said, okay, and I'm nervous, happy. I almost blew up just thinking about it. I'm going to be in the ring with these guys. So anyway, now I'm like 170, 175, something like that, and I got white pants on, and I got this nice tight T-shirt, could show me off a little bit. So anyways, Don Lott was the referee. So I'm standing by him, and Don tells me, Nick, you just make sure they hang on the rope and both feet on the floor, on the edge. I said, yes, sir. Kurt's looking at me. He's got that monocle on, and he's got his nose in the air a bit and looking down at me, and he says, hey, kid. I said, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, Mr. Pappenheim. He says, you know what I'd do if I had a body like that? I said, I thought to myself, my God, he noticed my body. No, and I said, well, no, what would I do? He says, I'd develop it. No, it was. He noticed me. I mean, I was at the pinnacle of everything. And then when he told me that, just like I got flushed down the toilet or something. Hey, Reggie, it seemed to me that for Cliff Parker, we went up on Prince George or Williams Lake or something.
Oh, yeah, that's the time. I mentioned it to you at the Cauliflower Athletic Club that I was in the ring with Primo Carnera. I think Bud would tell me because he was a great big guy, so he had two guys in the ring with him. Yeah,
no, that's it. And also went through that that big puppet. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yep, and you mentioned Nick, and you mentioned we didn't have a shower, so we threw Primo Carnera in a great big tub of water, and he just
the galvanized tub. Well, the guy was almost 7 foot tall, and it looked like he would just put a big stick into a little tub, made like a popsicle or something.
Yeah, like a head was like a bushel basket, a great big guy like that.
Oh, that's right too. I remember. God damn, Herbie. I mean, Brady. Who am I talking to here? Okay, Reggie. I'm getting old. Yeah, I called Herbie about 2-3 months ago, and he's got his clinic and everything. He's going.
Yeah, I know. God, I've been following him. I still he got a hell of a deal there, and he.
Oh yeah, well
I remember we were in Portland, Oregon, and he left there. He went to Texas for a few weeks or whatever it was, and he got up in the ring there, and I think he was trying one of those moves that they do, climb up on the top of the turnbuckle and throw a drop kick off of that thing. So then he landed on his shoulder and screwed up his shoulder. And then he come back to Portland, and he said, I was a 400-pound bench presser, and I couldn't even lift 100 pounds, he said. And the one arm got skinny and all that. And I think that's where he got his interest in being a chiropractor.
Yeah, he went to Northwest College of Chiropractic and Nursing or something like that.
Yeah.
Remember, and he used to work on weekends.
And then some other, the bigger outfit that was in there, they took a liking to him, and they sort of give him the free hand there, and that eventually, I think, if I got the right information, he ended up taking over the place when the other guys retired. Yeah. So
you're doing real good. Let me tell you a story with Herbie and me and everything else. I don't know what it was at the time. I hurt my back doing something. When I was lacing up bending over and lacing up the shoes, it almost took me 5 minutes to straighten up, just take the pressure off. I said, what the hell did I do?
Yeah.
And so anyways, Herbie was into maybe 6 months before he finished his tenure there, and they had like clinic work, you know, to get experience and all that good stuff. So I spoke to Herbie and I went over where he's at, going to the deal, going to school and everything else, told him what I was doing. And he said, "Oh, I don't know, Nick." He says, "No, wait a minute." He says, "We've got this guy coming in. He's supposed to be number one in the country about back ailments and this, that. You know what I mean?"
Yeah.
So he'll be here next Saturday. He'll be here at 9 o'clock. I said, okay. And I was there at 9 o'clock. Talked to the guy. He said, well, come here. We'll go take some pictures. So, you know, most of the time when you take an X-ray, you know, on your back, you're laying on your face. Then you turn around, you're laying face up. Bang, bang. That was it. But this guy had me laying down on my face. Then he says, okay, raise up on one elbow. Shot. He said, no, again, another elbow. Shot. Until finally I was laying, you know, strictly on my side. He said, okay, keep turning till you're on your back, but doing a little, you know, a little bit at a time until I'm facing up. And I thought to myself, wow, he's doing a complete circuit X-raying my lower back area.
Yeah.
And he says, when he came, when it was done, he says, Nick, your problem is your tailbone, your coccyx bone or tailbone, they call it, is bent up and bent to a side. He says, it's all that nerves down there are being pinched off. That's why you got the pain.
Yep.
So he says, I'll tell, you know, we know what we can do is I'll tell Herbie and he'll fix you up, no problem. So we set up a time. I come back the next week, and so I come in the office and everything else, and Herbie says, okay, Nick. He says, get on the table. He said, drop your pants and everything. I look at Herbie, drop my pants, and he's putting a rubber glove on. And I said, what the hell are you going to do, Herbie? He says, just relax. He says, lay on your side, get in the fetal position, you know, side and knees to your chest. And he's got this stuff, and he's putting this glue, the silky stuff or smoothing. I said, what the hell are you going to do? He said, just take it easy. I won't tell the boys or anything. So he goes through my butt, you know, through my anus and everything else. I tell you what, I could feel him grab my coccyx bone or tailbone, what you want to call it, and hook on it, and he gave me a sharp tug and a turn, and it like 10,000 sticks just broke off. You know what I mean? The noise, bang, 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 and I got immediate relief.
Yeah.
He said, all that, because it was turned, you know, and I said, how would I get that? He said, well, I'll tell you. He says, cowboys get it? You come from riding broncs and stuff like that? Or you might have taken a bump on your butt without realizing it. And bent out of shape. No, but that was Herbie with his finger.
Well, that was, and now you hear of all these back injuries. Now you know why the old retired wrestlers walk the way they do.
Oh yeah, well I'm surprised. You know, most of the guys are in a wheelchair.
Oh yeah,
you know, they're way overweight.
I tell the guys
in a wheelchair.
See them at the Cauliflower Alley Club. They got walking with canes. Some of them got 2 canes, and then there was Harley. Yeah. Harley, when he'd come, he would rent her a little scooter and drive around with that thing.
Hey, well, let me ask you this: did you have your hips replaced?
Nothing. I've got every piece in my body is original.
You didn't take any bumps anyway, so.
Well, I took advantage of Johnny Valentine's famous saying.
Oh shit!
Stay on your feet, kid. You'll look stronger and you'll last longer.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I told you I had my left hip done twice and my right hip done once.
Jesus.
And then I had my right knee replaced.
Jesus, Nick, you had too many bumps. I think that was like, well, when you're young, you know, when you're young, you don't feel it.
Yeah, I was trying to get over it. That's all.
I was up in Montreal, and they worked at a small town down into the States there, and here's Don Leo Jonathan and Marine with me. Did you ever work with him?
No, but my brother did.
Oh, yeah. So
I never did.
He comes in the dressing room. He said, "By God, kid, if you weren't a worker, you'd be dead by now. And I said, yeah, that makes sense, because he could take me and throw me from one corner to the other corner before it hit the mat. I don't know.
Yeah, I believe that. What about here's a guy that even thinking back by then, I say, cannot believe it. Remember Sky High Lee?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
He was one of the few guys. Everything else that was over 6'5" or something. But I remember when he came to Vancouver, and I was there again. Took his towel to the ring and everything else. I forget who he was working with, but big raw-boned guy and everything else. Looked like he was stretched over bones.
He was like Andre the Giant with no meat on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I was told that Sky could drink, my dad told me he'd drink a 40 ounce of lemon heart rum or something.
I
hear all the stories about Sky and
I was in Edmonton one night, and he was he got this bottle, a little pint of it, and he just wolfed that thing down, and he just growled, and it loosens up the joint.
I was getting to that, okay? Here. I take his towel and everything else. First off, they said, okay, Sky, you're on next. Get ready.
Yeah.
So there was 4 bottles, which I thought was water. This was vodka, by his bag there, everything else. So he takes 1 bottle. That's a fifth, a Canadian fifth. And he, down he goes. Okay.
Yeah.
And he goes to the ring. So I'm looking at him. He drank that water pretty fast. So I come back to the dressing room and put his towel down, and I said, Jesus Christ, I never saw a guy drink a bottle of water that fast. And the guy said, Nick, that wasn't water. I said, what do you mean? That was vodka. I said, bullshit. So I went over there, it's still a little of that stuff in the bottle. So I poured a little on my palm and licked it with my tongue, and I went, geez, that's vodka. So when he came back, which the match was maybe 5 or 10 minutes, that's all, whatever they were doing, he comes back to the dressing room and grabs that second bottle and downs it goes. And I thought to myself, my Lord, he must have his kidneys or liver and everything must be, poisoned by now. They said when Sky finally passed and they did operate on him, he says his kidneys and livers was as healthy as a 50-year-old guy.
Yeah, that's
with all that booze he drank.
Yeah. Oh, I was with
him.
I traveled with him for a couple of days there. We went from Edmonton, Calgary to Lethbridge, and God, he just gulped that stuff down like it was nothing. Did you ever hear the story about? We talked about this. Stu wanted to do a little promoting with in Edmonton, so he put him on a horse to ride. I love that story. He had him on a horse, he was 7 foot anyway, but instead of a horse, they put him on a pony. And and I saw this. I didn't know what was going on. I just happened to be downtown on Jasper Avenue there. I see this big cowboy with a hat, and his feet are almost dragging on. The guy's riding a horse. I said, God, this guy's got to be 10 foot tall.
I remember one time, Reggie, I got cut off there, but I remember my dad he always had these strongman types doing gimmicks and stuff, but he had this Paul Baylor's on one of those.
Oh, with the pole and
with
the horse
where he would climb the ladder, and have a horse harnessed. And
I remember that in Edmonton.
I remember my dad had him climbing the ladder in the ring. I don't even know how the hell they got the horse through the ropes in the ring or whatever. But anyway, for some reason the horse started freaking out, and it was like bucking, and poor old Paul's up halfway up the ladder, and the horse started freaking out and bucking, and Paul was hanging on for dear life, and my dad said he wasn't sure if he was going to break his back, and it seemed like we always had those animal things. I remember another time, not to digress, but my dad had the wrestling baron here, and He used to have some gimmick where, if the fans could turn the bear on its back, they got $1,000 or some bullshit. And, But anyway, this big fat girl got in the ring with the bear, and I think she must have either been on her period or something. But the bear went nuts and was trying to.
Oh boy!
And the bear was trying to fornicate with her. The fans were all laughing, and my dad was the imminent danger, and the bear was like an illegitimate bear hug and was trying to hump her, and my dad had all the wrestlers, she's screaming, and the fans all thought it was funny, and my dad had all the wrestlers, having this tug of war. Finally pulled her out from under the bear, and she was hysterical, but it always seemed like those animal things, seem to go the wrong way or something like that. The animals weren't.
Oh, they do. I was in Tennessee when they brought the bear in there, and they put the bear on like first or second match. Well, god damn, there was hair and pee and poop all over the damn apron and the ring, and the other guys didn't want to go out there and roll around in that stuff. So they said, well,
some of them probably did.
Okay, then finally they caught on. They said, well, okay, we'll put the bear on last. So, oh, jeez.
You remember Nick Adams? He had the bear for 3 or 4 years. Not so gentle Ben, the big brown one.
God,
anyways,
was he from Canada?
Well,
he wasn't he?
Yeah, he's a Canadian guy.
Yeah,
he was traveling with the bear, and hang on a minute, and he came to Vancouver at the Airline Mall, which is off our main highway 45 going north. And they had a deal. The bear had no claws and had a muzzle.
Yeah.
And anybody who wanted to try wrestling the bear, just put a little, March of Dimes deal. Put a little deal there, and you can try work with him. Yeah. So I'm looking at this bear. I thought, wait a minute, boy, that's a real bear, I think. So I said, well, I'm going to try and get behind this bear. And, I thought that the bear knew how to shoot, for Christ's sake, because I tried to get behind him, and he scooped my leg. Like, I said, wait a minute, who's the guy in the bear suit? That's a real bear.
That'd be harder than trying to get behind Tony Morelli.
Oh, my God, Tony Morelli. When I'm 1958, I'm at the Olympic Auditorium. There you had the tunnel to get in the ring door on the net. So anyways, Buddy Rogers was supposed to work that night, and Jules Strombo says, Buddy, there's a guy out there with a blue piece of paper. Get your shit and get out of here. There's a summons for something. So Buddy took off, and Jules came in the dressing room and said, Nick, he says, you were supposed to work with Mr. Rogers, but he had to take off, everything else, but you're going to work with Lupez. I said, I'm going to what?
Oh.
Yeah, you're going to wrestle with Lupez. He's a world champion. I said, Jules, you're kidding. I've only been in the business 2 years. He said, no problem. Now, Tony Morelli shared the dressing room with me. He was behind me and everything else. And I'm going, well, you got to be kidding. I'm working with the world champion, for Christ's sake. And I met Lou early, and we got along real good, but I'm just going crazy. And Tony looks at me and he says, Nick, what the hell's wrong with you? I said, Tony, I'm working with Lupez, the world champion. He said, well, so what? I said, what do you mean, so what? He said, look, Nick, now I want you to do something, and you do it, or I'll beat your ass right here. And Tony could do it. I knew that. So he said, look, go in the next dressing room and tell Mr. Fez for him to get his best hold if he can. I says, you got to be kidding. I said, no. He said, Nick, do it. You do it now. Here, I'll whip you right here. I said, oh, shit, what the hell, why not? So I walked to the second dressing room, and Lou was in a chair bending over tying his shoes. I said, Mr. Fez, appears like I'm working with you tonight. Now, I didn't know Tony was behind me all the time. I didn't know that. And Lou said, that's nice. And I said, look, I want you to try and get your best hold tonight. And it was calm, quiet. Now, Lou, from tying his shoe, slowly looked up. Come up slowly to a tall sitting position. He says, what? And I said, Tony, come to say that. And Tony was behind me. And he come out and Lou caught the deal, and he said, no problem. I tell you what, that son of a gun made me look like a champion. He made me look. He had that one time. His finish was where he waist locked you from the front and picked you up and threw you back to the mat. And that was his finish and everything else.
Yep.
But he made me look like a champion. I
had the pleasure of having him in the ring 3 times, and I got
with Lou.
Lou says.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
My last match, leaving the territory from L.A., I was going back to Edmonton. The last match was in Las Vegas, so I worked with him that night, and everybody left, and I stayed in Vegas for a couple, 3 days for a little vacation before I headed for Edmonton. So I look in the paper the next day, and I see my name and the wrestling, and I'm reading this, and it says, Reggie Parks beat Lou Thez 2 straight falls. I laughed like that, and I got that clipping, and I tried to save that thing. I saved my life, and I cannot find that thing. Damn. There's not a living person, or dead or living, that ever beat Lou Thez 2 straight falls.
I don't think so. I got one more bear story I got to tell you. It just popped in my head. This was when I was working for Fields in Mobile, Alabama, that area. And I can't remember the guy who had Macon. What the hell was his name? He was promoting Macon. Anyways, remember Tuffy Truesdale? Him and his bear?
Oh, yeah, he had the bear, too, yeah.
He had a little black one, little black bear. I tell you, that bear just so funny. He was in the dressing room. Now, we were working in Tyler. That was it. And, it didn't sound like there were going to be too many people coming. So I'm looking through the dress. The bear was parked in a corner, just like a big fat old guy, just feet stuck out and leaning back, looking at you. And you're saying this bear looks too human. He's looking at you, right? So anyways, I look out the side door, and he's not 3-4 feet to my right. Then I feel something tugging at my leg. And I look over, and he has slid down, almost on his back flat, and he's got his right back foot out, trying to hook my foot. With his foot.
Wasn't trying to hump you.
Oh, maybe so. But here's the deal. You remember Spider Galento?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Mario Spider Galento.
Okay,
yes.
Now it's a battle royal with the bear in the ring at the last. That was the main event. Everybody going, and the bear. Tuffy had the bear on a leash, on a chain, had a muzzle on. So we're all in the ring, heading for the ring. Now, Spider is already in the ring. Believe me, I don't know whatever come through his mind to do this. So Tuffy leads the bear in, and we're filing in halfway through the ropes. Some guy ready to put the fun in an apron. Some guy's inside. As the bear comes through the ropes, head first, Spider wheels around and bang! Throw a haymaker, hit the bear right on the nose. Well, that bear went. He got out of Tuffy's grasp with the chain and went after Spider, cleared the ring, cleared the building.
Oh, yeah.
I'm serious. That bear was going to get Spider, and that Spider took on. I never saw a guy that could run so fast with a bear on his tail before Tuffy was good enough to grab the chain. But anyway, we all left. That was it. And we're in the dressing room finally, and they said, Spider, what in the hell did you do that for? Now, Spider, now and then he started shadow boxing. He says, he said, no, I knew I could take that bear.
Hey, listen, talk about bears. How many guys have you been in and out of the business with that had fingers missing, like a half a finger? Remember?
Yeah. Who was that?
Those are guys that always worked with the bear, but they'd have the bear would always chew one of their fingers off.
Yeah, there was a kid from Canada that had that big brown bear that did that.
Joe Tommaso had a finger missing.
Tweet, yeah.
Tweety Bird. And who else? Somebody else. I said, "Where's your finger?" So I would worked with the bear, and they get the muzzle. They get the muzzle. Somehow that finger would slip into the muzzle there, and the bear would just chew it off.
Oh, God, I'm telling you. Fond memories. It's amazing. Reggie, it's amazing.
Did you have any Amarillo stories, Nick? You know, I remember meeting you guys back in the 70s, but that was kind of a famous territory for ribs and characters.
Oh, my God, yes.
There was always some kind of mischief and shit going on there, I recall.
Terry had a hair match with somebody, and he cut his hair. Well, that tape went around. What do they call a cycle? Went up to Colorado for a week or two, and then it would go to Albuquerque and El Paso, and before he got back to Texas and everything, it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Well, his hair would start growing, so about every week he'd have to cut his hair a little more. So it didn't look. It's fun. That was fun.
I tell you what, when Dory would have either, I think it was a Sunday, would have a game party. All the guys who killed deer, bear, duck, anything that they had in their freezer that we could all cook together.
Yeah.
And and then the ladies would come make potato salad and all the goodies, plus the booze and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that was game day, as Dory would call it. So anyways, they dug a pit with a baby crib style mats of spring, cook it Hawaiian style, this pig, cook it Hawaiian style. And I used to just, it was great, just the atmosphere, terrific. And, of course, every time you come by the pig, if you're drinking a beer or a whiskey or wine, you poured a little bit on the pig.
Oh, yeah.
And, to make it cook better. And by the time, I tell you what, when it was ready and you cut that thing open, that meat, that pork and everything else was all loaded up with wine and whiskey and beer. It was fantastic. You got drunk almost for just eating the meat, It was so full of booze. But Dory was terrific on that. He really had that once in a while, and it just kind of pulled everything together. You'd want to bust your ass for the man because he just treats you right.
One of my Terry Funk favorites is in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
I think I may have been there.
Terry, but he had the strap and he put it on this guy at the hotel. Were you there?
Oh, the big fat guy, about 400 pounds, and he called him Rocky Hudson because he had a head like a rock and an ass like a Hudson.
He was like a pretty good sized guy, and Terry says, "Well, I gotta take your shirt off. I got to take some pictures of you, and I could do something with you." And he said, "How about your legs?" So they had to take the pants off. Well, they had him naked. And then,
I remember, and he was a big fat slob, about just slightly thinner than the McGuire twins,
Yeah, well, I don't know, but I don't know if he was that big. But anyway, we got him outside in the hall. We needed more light for the picture, So Terry put the belt on him, and he had nothing on but the belt. And then I don't know if we took a picture or not, but everybody ran back in the room and locked the door. Okay. Now he's out there wandering around the hotel lobby, down by the desk, naked with the belt on.
I remember Terry had him knocking on all the boys' doors at like 4 a.m, stark naked. He had the NWA World Title belt around his waist and was knocking on guys' doors. And half of them weren't wrestlers either, And this naked guy at the outside your door wearing the NWA World Title belt.
Mr. Hart, there was a rip pulled on the guy, something like that. He was a big Italian guy, around 280, 290 or something like that, where they pulled a deal on him where he was with a guy, a girlfriend, but actually one of the guy's wives, and they were in the motel room and getting down, and the husband comes in, and he's got a shotgun. Of course, he got blanks in it and everything else, and he caught him, and he boom, boom. He said, from what I understand, it was 20 below or something outside, and he went through the door, kept on going, went through a fence before they caught him because he thought he was going to get killed right there.
when the cops called Stu, and Stu would say, "They're at it again."
I remember one time my dad, they pulled one of those from a guy named Don Jardine up here, and he was down on his knees, and the guy had the gun on him, and it was some old guy named Dave Rule's brother or something like that. He had the gun on him, and Don Jardine is saying, "I want to, go ahead and shoot me and all like that. I'm not going to leave her and all this shit." So I guess they finally divulged. They had to let him know that it was a rib, and my dad told me he went running out into the night. They're out in the countryside somewhere, and it was about 30 below out, and he was running naked out, and I heard about 20 years later, they were down in Texas or something. Stan Stasiak had been in on the rib, and he was talking about it, and he thought Jardine, kind of could laugh about it now, and apparently Jardine came up and punched him and said, "Fuck you," you were in on that one, or he was still angry about it.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Good times.
Oh. Well, gentlemen, I gotta leave you all. I'm here at the gym, and I got some people that need to be looked after me, But I'll tell you what, I thoroughly, you made my day. I enjoyed this, just reminiscing. I'm surprised that the names of some of these guys popped back into my mind, and then I could just visualize, I could just see them right there. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
The one time, before I go, in Eugene, there was me, Nick Bockwinkel, and remember Billy White Wolf?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And against Peppy, Buddy Knox, and Bill Savage. 6-man tag.
Well, you were there. We had a. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyways, Billy, about a week or two earlier, he was invited to some Indian tribe in around Yakima or something, where they presented him with a beautiful, beautiful headdress, like you might say, like an Iroquois Indian headdress.
Yeah.
Big golden frills with two big eagle feathers sticking out the back, right? Uh-huh. So now Savage and Peppy and who else did I say? Anyways, they're in the ring, and here we come. So I come in first. I grab the bottom. I do a vault over the top rope, and here comes Herbie. Boom, vault over the top rope. And when this happened, we thought, Jesus, for a White Wolf to be, such an athlete, he went over the top rope and caught his big toe, right toe, on the top rope, and went head first to the mat, right in the corner. And we were just shocked and looking at everything else. But the funny thing part is, when he got up, of course, he had big eyes and rolled around, and that one feather broke off. It just one feather was stuck up. And, just like what the hell happened? Well, Savage and them, they hit the deck and went to the dressing room. Because Herbie and I were laughing like crazy, and Bill couldn't understand why we were laughing so hard. So we left the ring, and he was there by himself. Then finally he came back to the dressing room. When Don come in, said, "What's wrong with you guys? What's going on?" She said, "Well, we told him." He's, "Oh, Jesus, get back in the ring. Come on." So the heels got back in, and we went out. As soon as we stood there and looked at the heels, we started laughing again. So, finally we got it out of the way and the whole thing. But I couldn't believe. And from then on, any time we worked or Bill was in the ring and he tried to go over the top rope, he tripped every time. We couldn't understand it. Okay, go ahead.
We were there. When I was there, Don Owens bring this guy. He's a colored guy, but he was like a light colored guy, So Don Owens looks at him and said, "Damn," he said, "man, hey, let's make an Indian out of this guy." He said, "We'll put him on the second or third match." So we jumped in the car and took him to my place. I had these things that I shaved my legs with, my clippers. So we cut his hair like a mohawk and brought him back, and then he got in the ring there, and he was Don Owens gave him a name, Black Hawk. So
Black Hawk or Black
Hawk, yeah. That was, I don't know what tribe he was from, but
we had this black guy. He later on became Junkyard Dog in WWE, but some of the black guys would always be dressed for going out socializing to the clubs afterwards. And most of the Canadians had the big heavy parkas. They all kind of knew what was going on. But I heard we were coming back from Regina, and the heater had gone in the van or some damn thing, and Pearl Junkyard was wearing his trench coat and his courting clothes, his silk shirts. He was like in tears. It was so damn cold, and he'd say, how much longer? We said, only 400 more miles,